Can we deal with the facts? Homosexuality and mental illness. Up until 1974, homosexuality, same-sex attraction, was deemed a mental illness in a Mexican society in the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders. At an annual conference of the Mexican Psychiatric Association in 1974, the behavior was unclassified as a mental illness. This was done for political purposes, parentheses, eugenics, and not because they had any proof that this was a natural way of thinking or that people can be born gay. Homosexuality was deregulated so that it would be possible for the LGBTQ movement to trump the Negro Civil Rights Movement. Hence, the LGBTQ community feeling like they can equate themselves to the Civil Rights Movement. Wrong. Now, I am not denying that LGBTQ community is being beaten and killed, and that is wrong. I am saying that LGBTQ community have some nerve pointing the finger at anyone when racism, bullying, violence, and pedophilia runs wild in the LGBTQIA community. They have the nerve to compare gays to the Black Holocaust, aka transatlantic slave trade and civil rights. How rude and disrespectful. You see the confusion that this causes? Foolish to equate the bullying and even the killings, yeah, I said it, to any part of what Negroes, Natives, and Latinos went through. I have not seen any LGBTQIA being whipped and put in chains unwillingly. You know, some of you are into that demonic bondage crap with whips and chains. Straight Satanism. No dogs are attacking LGBTQIA, and they can vote and drink out of any water fountain. So please shut that bull up. It is garbage, and anyone who associates the two together is garbage. I was shocked to find out that the people who fund this movement are heterosexual. They use homosexuality as a tool of eugenics. They know two black men or two black women can't reproduce. There are three main reasons why people are gay, and none of them are they were born that way. That is a lie. Number one, molestation, whether it's adult to child or child on child. Okay, so I have been writing this book, so I'm not going to put much here, but read the book. I talk about me being molested and how it affected me. I can only talk about me, and I try to be as honest as I can remember. 2, children with low self-esteem and outsiders have a strong chance at being LGBTQIA. These are children who are not molested, very small percentage if everyone was being honest, but exposed, manipulated, and or socialized into it. Women have to be careful because you can break the child's spirit calling them specific names like fat, stupid, ugly, weird, bad, fag, gay. Women asking their male sons, why are you acting like a girl? Keep calling the child a girl. They will stray away from thinking they are masculine. This is also a form of bullying. People are nurtured into homosexuality. It has nothing to do with nature because the behavior is unnatural due to the fact that same sex cannot produce life. The best way to beat someone is success, and besides, once you're out of my sight, you're out of my mind. People cling to this, it's nature, or I was born this way. If they admit they were nurtured or brought into homosexuality, then they will have to admit it is a choice. And with all behaviors, you have the choice to behave or misbehave. People admit that they were not born gay. They are afraid they will be led into an investigation on what happened in their childhood to trigger this behavior. People do not want to discuss being molested. They will lie until they are blue in the face to keep from having that conversation. I can see why. Because it's embarrassing, y'all. Writing this book opened some old wounds And it takes courage to bare your soul in front of everyone. I was called F.A.G so much that I started to question whether I really was or not. Now let's be clear, there's a difference between effeminate and homosexuality, but they are both still wrong. Effeminate men are usually this way because they are raised around a lot of women. Vice versa for tomboyish girls who hunt and excel at sports. Usually a dad is around or an uncle, and the child picks up the women's characteristics and mannerisms who are in the house, like the mother and grandmother. Now usually this results sometimes in beatings without explaining, which emasculates a male child, which leads to low self-esteem. One of my cousins, I believe, is number 2. Number 3, the father being absent in the home. When a male child doesn't get the love of their father, it creates like a hunger in them to go search for masculine energy. Somewhere along the lines, it sometimes gets misconstrued as a desire to have sex with men rather than it being a desire for a father figure. The children will grow up needing validation from other men. They want the love of a father. Not all feel this way, but it is present. Lesbianism is triggered by verbal, physical, and sexual abuse by men onto women. Also child molestation. Women out here doing orgies with other women to please a man, and after the fun is over and reality, consequence for sin, sets in, she feels ashamed that she did something immoral with and for a man the next woman or man is with. Lesbianism has increased because of the growing hatred for the Negro man. Studs or bull daggers or dykes also gang up on high school girls in bathrooms and locker rooms. Some women don't feel safe. Some women were so mistreated by husbands and men in general that they might seek comfort in another woman. And I have seen and lived this. We also have to look at Big Mom generation. Girl, that's a good man. You better stay with that man. A good example is the way Tina Turner's mother was portrayed. She knew her daughter was being beat, and how did Ike find Tina at the bus stop? And he brought her mama a house to seal the deal. Women can be just as shady. A lot of women play innocent but evil on the inside, and that part didn't come from no man. Look at the mama on the show Greenleaf. What's her name? Lady May? I know a few women in real life that is really like that. And why does Lynn play the same type of role and be so good at it? I wonder if she is really like what she portrays in her movies. Last but not least, one of my favorite movies, Waiting to Exhale. Remember Savannah Mama? That's a good man, Savannah. He just in a bad situation. Yeah, Ma, he was married. Women are not exempt, and being friends with a lot of women, I can honestly say that women play a big part in what happens between a man and them. How many times have you known he was a bum, but you still did it anyway? And why don't you have condoms just in case he forgets to bring one? Because you want the raw dick too. That is my biggest problem with women. A lot of you cannot own up to your end of the bullshit. Medical consequences of gay marriage and homosexuality. Gay marriage and homosexuality, some medical comments. Number 1, background. Despite the impression given by the media, the actual number of homosexuals is quite small. Essentially, all surveys show the number of homosexuals to be only 1 to 3% of the population. The number of homosexuals living in common law partnerships is even less, only 0.5% of all couples. This contrasts with 70% of all households with a married couple. The pressure for introducing same-sex marriages comes from a very small section of society. According to statistics, Canada 1.3% of men and 0.7% of women consider themselves to be homosexual. The link www.statcan.ca/daily/040615/040615b.htm. Recent studies in many different countries show that the prevalence of homosexuality is less than 3% of the population. In the U.S. study, the prevalence of homosexuality was estimated to be 2.1% of men and 1.5% of women. Gilman, S.E., A.M.J. Public Health, 2001, 91:933-9. Another U.S. study estimated that the prevalence of the adult lesbian population to be 1.87%. Aaron DJ ETAL J Epidemial Community Health 2003 57:207-9. In a recent British survey, 2.8% of men were classified as homosexual. Mercer CH ETAL AIDS 2004 18:1453-8. In a recent Dutch study, 2.8% of men and 1.4% women had same-sex partners. Sanford TG ETAL ARCH Arch General Psychiatry 2001 58:85-91. In a New Zealand study, 2.8% of young adults were classified as homosexual or bisexual. Ferguson DM ETAL ARC General Psychiatry 1999 56:876-80. In 2001, there were just over 8.3 million families in Canada, of which nearly 6 million, 70% were married couples, and 1.1 million common law couples. The 2001 census was the first to provide data on same-sex partnerships. A total of 34,200 couples, or 0.5% of all couples, identified themselves as same-sex common law couples. And www.statcan.ca/daily/English/021-022-/lowercase d021-022a.htm. Okay, hold on, let me see that means. I'm just showing y'all what I'm going to read next. Health risk of the homosexual lifestyle. The media portrays the homosexual lifestyle and relationships as happy, healthy, and stable. However, the homosexual lifestyle is associated with a large number of very serious physical and emotional health consequences. Many committed homosexual relationships only last a few years. This raises doubts as to whether children raised in same-sex households are being raised in a protective environment. A. There are very high rates of sexual promiscuity among the homosexual population with short duration of even committed relationships. A study of homosexual men shows that more than 75% of homosexual men admitted to having sex with more than 100 different males in their lifetime. Approximately 15% claim to have had 100 to 249 sex partners. 17% claimed 250 to 499. 15% claimed 500 to 999. And 28% claimed more than 1,000 lifetime sexual partners. Parentheses, Bell AP, Weinberg, MS. Homosexualities. New York, 1978. Promiscuity among lesbian women is less extreme, but is still higher than among heterosexual women. Many lesbian women also have sex with men. Lesbian women were more than 4 times as likely to have had more than 50 lifetime male partners than heterosexual women. Feathers, K, and others. Sexually transmitted infections and risk behaviors in women who have sex with women. Sexually transmitted infections, 2000, 76:345-9. Far higher rates of promiscuity are observed even with committed gay relationships than in heterosexual marriage. In Holland, male homosexual relationships last on average 1.5 years, and gay men have an average of 8 partners a year outside of their supposedly committed relationships. Zeridow M. and others, the contribution of steady and casual partnerships to the incidence of HIV infection among homosexual men in Amsterdam, AIDS 2003, 17:1029-38. Gay men have sex with someone other than their primary partner in 66% of relationships within the first year, rising to 90% of relationships after 5 years. Harry J. Gay Couples, New York, 1984. In an online survey, nearly 8,000 homosexuals, 71% of same-sex relationships lasted less than 8 years. Only 9% of all same-sex relationships lasted longer than 16 years. 2003-2004 Gay and Lesbian Consumer Online Census, www.glcensus.org. The high rates of promiscuity are not surprising. Gay authors admit that gay liberation was founded on sexual brotherhood of promiscuity. Rotello, G. Sexual Ecology, New York, 1998. B. Among homosexuals, highly risky sexual practices such as anal sex are very common. The majority of homosexual men, 60%, engage in anal sex, frequently without condom, and even if they know that they are HIV positive. Mercer CH and others, increasing prevalence of male homosexual partnerships and practices in Britain, 1990 through 2000. AIDS, 2004, 18:1453-8. As a result, a large number of diseases are associated with anal intercourse, many of which are rare or even unknown in the heterosexual population, such as anal cancer, chlamydia, trachomatis, cryptosporidium, which is that's like a parasite, and I think it has something to do with like diarrhea or something like that. Giardia, Lamblia, I believe that's another parasite. Herpes simplex virus, HSV. Human immunodeficiency virus, HIV. Human papillomavirus, HPV. Cystoisospora belli, that is another parasite. Microsporidia, gonorrhea, syphilis. Microsporidia, think like fungus, fungi, spores. gonorrhea, syphilis, hepatitis B, C, and others. And some, never mind. The link is www.netdoctor.co.uk, www.gayhealthchannel.com. There's a significant increase in the risk of contracting HIV when engaging in anal sex. Young homosexual men aged 15 through 22 who ever had anal sex had a 5-fold increased risk of contracting HIV than those who never engaged in anal sex. Valeroy L. and others, HIV prevalence and associated risk in young men who have sex with men. JAMA 2000 284:198 through 204. The term barebacking refers to intentional unsafe anal sex. In a study of HIV positive gay men, the majority of participants, 84%, reported engaging in barebacking in the past 3 months, and 43% of the men reported recent bareback sex with a partner who most likely is not infected with HIV, therefore putting another man at risk of contracting HIV. Hepatitis PN, intentional unsafe sex barebacking among HIV positive gay men who seek sexual partners on the internet. AIDS Care 2003 15 367-78. While many homosexuals are aware of HIV risk, a large number are unaware of the increased risk of contracting non-HIV STDs, many of which have serious complications or may not be curable. KY Lubricant and the National Lesbian and Gay Health Association survey. While always condom use reduces the risk of contracting HIV by about 85%, condoms, even when used 100% of the time, fail to give adequate levels of protection against many non-HIV STDs such as syphilis, gonorrhea, chlamydia, herpes, genital warts, and others. The only safe sex is, apart from abstinence, mutual monogamy with an uninfected partner. Sex, condoms, and STDs, what we now know. Medical Institute for Sexual Health, 2002. C. Homosexuals have very high rates of sexually transmitted infections such as HIV, which pose a major burden to the health service. Over 70% of all AIDS diagnoses in Canada in adults over the age of 15 up to June 2004 were in homosexual men. 13,019 out of 19,238. 60% of all positive HIV test results are found in homosexual men. This contrasts with just over 15% of all positive HIV tests, which are due to heterosexual contact. Public Health Agency of Canada, HIV and AIDS in Canada, November 2004. I wonder what it looked like now, because that was 20 years ago. The recently observed dramatic increases in syphilis in many large cities such as Los Angeles, San Francisco, but also in London and Manchester, UK, are in the majority observed in homosexual men. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, trends in primary and secondary syphilis and HIV infections in men who have sex with men, MMWR 2004 53 575-8, and Nicole A. are trends in HIV, gonorrhea, and syphilis worsening in Western Europe, BMJ 2002 324:1324-7. D. There are increased rates of mental ill health among the homosexual population compared to the general population. Many studies show much higher rates of psychiatric illness, such as depression, suicide attempts, and drug abuse among homosexuals than among the general population. The homosexual lifestyle is associated with a shortened life expectancy of up to 20 years. Damn. In a New Zealand study, data were gathered on a range of psychiatric disorders among gay, lesbian, and bisexual young people. At the age of 21, homosexuals/bisexuals were at fourfold increased risk of major depression and conduct disorder, fivefold increased risk of nicotine dependence, twofold increased risk of other substance misuse or addiction, and 6 times more likely to have attempted suicide. Ferguson, DM, and others. Is sexual orientation related to mental health problems and suicide in young people? Arch General Psychiatry, 1999, 56, 876-80.